Welcome to Live with Greg, or Live with Greg, depending on semantics.
It's such a difficult topic to talk about when you know someone's listening.
Would you rather talk about it when no one's listening?
I don't know. I just I used to be so vocal, and I'm just not vocal anymore about it because you just can't be. People don't. I feel like white people don't want to hear it. But now I feel like they do, but...
For how long?
Yeah, for how long are they going to want to hear about it? So...
Ready to begin?
Yeah.
I'm going to do an introduction.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen that tattoo before.
Oh, yeah. My son's name.
Coltrane.
And a bunch of roses.
You're going to color it anytime?
Mm-mm.
Just leave it black.
Yeah. Black in skin.
Mo Black.
Mo Black.
Mo Betta. Did you see that movie?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I used to call myself Mo Betta Black all the time. Yeah.
All right, so we've begun a new episode of Live with Greg with my dear friend Mo Black.
Hi.
You know why I say dear friend? Because I believe throughout our knowing each other, I've been able to be very clean and honest with you.
Me too.
It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
So we can go hard.
Okay, let's do it.
I trust you and I love you. And I'm not worried. Like, you can blow up.
Okay, good. Let's blow up.
All right.
That was hella just cheesy right there. I just turned 40. That was yeah.
Boom. I'm doing old people shit. Do you ever think that day was going to come? Yeah?
No, I never thought that 40 was going to come, ever.
Rocking chair and knitting.
I know, I do. I love to knit. I need to learn I love plants and knitting. I need to learn origami now.
Crossword puzzles.
Those are fun too, yeah.
Let's see, what other old crone things are there?
I need to get some cats.
Oh yeah, lots of cats. You think Train would let you have lots of cats in the house?
Probably not.
Good. We don't need you going down that road.
The house would smell really good.
And what would
Chowder
say to that?
Little stinky chowder. Fluff muffin.
Man. What we were just talking about with anger is I personally see that what we've gone through, it seems to me the rioting isn't really happening anymore. The full-blown, well, that Wendy's got burned, but that was...
What Wendy's got burned?
Saturday, a gentleman was shot and killed, and he was drunk, so he pulled over in a Wendy's to sleep it off, he decided he shouldn't drive.
Oh my gosh.
And he was apprehended, brought out of his car, and...
Oh my gosh, where was this?
I forget where.
Yeah, I stopped watching the news for a while because I was getting so angry. On my Instagram, and all of the news I watched through there, I just was I can't, because I ended up posting fuck the police and all this other angry shit that, it's I'm on my bike working out in the morning and I'm no, that's not healthy. Let me just give that a rest for a little bit.
Could be good energy for working out.
It was great for working out. That hour went by so fast.
Maybe you should go back to it.
No, I didn't like the way it felt after. I was high on the anger almost.
Right. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Really, that righteousness.
Yeah.
It's addicting.
It is addicting. it's very addicting, but it's not addicting, because if it was addicting, I would want that. Like, I know addiction because I love food. I'm totally addicted to food. So, like, you always want it. You always want to go back to it. And this was like, it didn't feel good. It was like, wrong is wrong and right is right. Like, why do we have to go here? Why are we here? Why are we so angry? Why can't we fix this? Why can't people see their privilege? Like, why are we having to show videos of, like, black people getting shot and beat and just harassed by the police? Why? It shouldn't even be happening. So the fact that we even have to have this conversation is ridiculous to me.
And yet,
we're civilized people. We shouldn't have to have these conversations. But this is what's happening in America.
in your personal life, don't you have conversations with... Is it okay if we close the sliding door?
Yeah.
Because I think I got it. I think it's going to be loud. Sorry.
It's okay. And then you've got that.
I hope it doesn't get too hot.
Oh, it'll be bad.
So with your intimate relations, like your son, there's times of volatile energy in the relationship, right? Like in that moment, you're not getting along with that individual, whoever it is.
Yeah.
So in that moment, you both hopefully work out coming back to peace,
right,
coming back to wholeness. And that's an effort. So that's all our country is. Like it was
effort.
Right. So I think it's rare that a white individual in this country knows how deeply this country was created on racist beliefs and actions.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I talk about the Citizenship Act, and it's rare that a person is aware of that act and that it was written saying to be a U.S. citizen, you have to be white. And that went to legal courtrooms to be fought. That our founding fathers were slave owners.
Why do you think it's rare that that white people don't know that?
It's not taught.
Yeah, but I knew that it wasn't taught, and so I went out and sought books and researched so that I could know my history. So why don't white people want to know their history?
Well, the only thing that comes to mind is what instigated your action to go seek out. And the only thing that comes to my mind is comfort. You weren't at a place of comfort, and you want to know why. I'm at a place of comfort. Why should I seek out change? Things are fine. Luckily for me, at a very young age, that book, Black Like Me, was given to me, or somehow it ended up in my hands, and I read that. So, at a young age, I was introduced to the difference between a white person and a black person being treated. And it was atrocious. But I'm still in a process of learning.
But now we have social media, so.
well, that'll fix everything.
Well, I mean, like, we didn't have social media. I didn't have it growing up, but I still was like, okay, well, I know that I'm not being taught the whole truth in public school. And now we have social media. I mean, it's like in our faces, so.
That Citizens Act I just learned about 2 years ago from helping Robin with her university studies. So I didn't know about that. And what it does is it deepens my understanding of how deep the roots are of racist thought in our system, our government.
Well, if you think about it, the colonizers came to America and destroyed the American Indians, the indigenous people. So our country it began with just blood and war and hatred. So there are so many layers of that this country was built on, and I feel like that isn't the truth that we're taught, and that it hasn't really yet been addressed. We celebrate Thanksgiving. That's so offensive to Native Americans. It's so offensive that day, but we still celebrate it. We have 1 month to learn Black history. It's ridiculous. The shortest month of the year. Great.
Isn't that Women's Month also?
Probably, I don't know.
I don't know.
Who cares about them?
I do.
I do too.
Well, that, like I read recently, how part of the fact that there's Black History Month also creates chaos in understanding, because it's the same people that are taught that one part of the year instead of a whole picture. Right.
Well, and like my son, like he came home one day and he's like, how come we're only taught that we're slaves? Like that's the only thing we learned during Black History Month in school. We were slaves, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, and Malcolm X, which you're not really taught like the whole picture of each person, but that's why you have to search for yourself, because you're not going to learn it through public school, and you have to start questioning, our country. It's not as perfect as we think it is, right?
It's far from perfect. It is what I saw Nikki Giovanni the other night with, I told you about that interview with, I forget, anyway, with Davis. What's her first name? Angela. It is Angela for some reason. Anyway, Nikki said something that was so like I was shocked when I heard her say it. I was like, damn, she said, she'd love to poison Trump. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? And she's just beatific, like big old smile on her face. And she said, I was like, first. And then Angela said, well, now you're talking about, old, like slave strategies, that were done in the time. And so I sat with it for 24 hours, and long story short, but here's what I'll say. One element I thought of is we do live in a country where she can say that very openly and publicly. And to my knowledge, she's okay.
See, and I don't believe that she's going to be okay. I feel like you say certain things and you're going to be listened to. You're going to be researched.
Well, I think her and Angela are two individuals who have been researched so long and so much of their life that I trust they have things in place where they've learned to survive that kind of surveillance and systematic chaos.
Yeah.
It's like
that's scary to me, that you can't say that you can't speak the truth without being sought out by the government. That to me is scary.
I wonder if that's just the difference of white and black, because for me, I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I'm kind of like, bring it on.
Yeah. I'm like, and you know, I think you're either the kind of person where you are afraid or you're not, and you know, I think about the American flag and police officers. I've never felt safe. I've never felt like it's a positive thing. I've never felt like the police are there to protect me. You know, whenever I've gotten pulled over, I've always been like shaky, you know, very afraid. I've had police pull me over when the cell phone new law came out, and so I had my cell phone and I was talking on it, and they pulled me over in El Cerrito, and they take their guns out, and you know, they're walking around the car and they're looking in the back seat, and I have like my car seat in the back because my son was a baby at the time, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, shaking. And they were playing good cop, bad cop. I'm like, well, where are you coming from, you know, asking me all these weird questions, and I'm like, I'm just going home from work, you know, do you know why we pulled you over? I'm like, no. And the cop in the back is like, has the gun, and like, answer him, you know, whatever. And I just was so afraid, and they were like, well, we pulled you over because you had your cell phone, and that's against the law. And I was like, that's it? That's why you're like looking in the back seat of my car with your guns out? Like, this is inappropriate, you know? Of course I didn't talk back, but my dad called the cops when his neighbors were getting robbed, and he decided to sit outside and watch to see where the robbers were going. And when the cops came, he comes out of the car and waves the cops down to say, like, they went that way. And the cops take my dad to the ground and put his arms behind his back. And my dad is like, I'm the one who called you guys, you know? So, yeah, there's fear because you're used to being treated a certain way in America, and there's the white privilege of not ever having to worry about that as long as you pay your taxes, right? You don't have to worry. Yeah.
So do you think part of our healing will be me as a white person to be willing to stand in the fire of anger that's appropriate, and let it pass through, and not like stay in forgiveness, and let this fire burn, and then we can move on to
I think
peace.
there would need to be that, and I think our system needs to change. Our public school system, obviously our police system, our government needs to change. Everything, we need change, because the way that everything is going at the moment, it's not working. You know, you can't have the tax dollars in a white wealthy neighborhood going into a public school and these kids getting better education than the tax dollars in a predominantly black neighborhood or a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. Not as many tax dollars going into that public school, so they're not getting a good education. It's just things are set up to be the way that they are, and so the system needs to change as a whole, and white people need to stand in the fire. So it's like a whole bunch of shit needs to happen, I think, in my opinion.
Looking at Marin County, it seems to me the tax dollars are equitable. However, Marin's very affluent, and they have things like, I forgot the name of that parent-funded thing, where they raise money from the parents to subsidize the education. I don't know how we can get around that.
You don't know how we could get around it?
Yeah, because
Why?
it's volunteered from the community, and if you have an affluent community, they have the money to subsidize an art program, a music program.
But if you have I'm just talking about tax dollars. So if you have tax dollars going from one community going back into its community, if those tax dollars, rather than going into that community, maybe the tax dollars would go into a public school arrangement where that fund would equally fund each public school the same amount of money. So it wouldn't just be bordered off, from one community into one community. It's like all the United States would be funded an equal amount of money.
So there's an element of resolving poverty.
Yes. There's no reason why we should
That
have
seems
poverty.
fucking impossible.
I don't think so.
You have faith in humanity?
No, I don't.
How is it possible?
I think it's possible if people care and people change, but unfortunately, the right people that are in the place to make the change aren't doing it. That's why there's an uprising right now. That's why you see all these people so angry and protesting, because the people that should be making the change aren't doing it.
All right, let's flip it real quick, if you're okay with that.
Yes.
You just turned 40.
Mm-hmm.
You have a son who's how old?
Oh my gosh, he's 15. He's about to be 16.
Wow. All right. So from what you've told me, I believe there's an element where every day there's a concern of him going out into the world. Could this be the day that it's over for him? Because he was just black and
Yeah, I worry about that when he gets older, because right now he's in a bubble right now. I still worry a little bit, but I more worry when he goes to college. I'm just gonna be a wreck. I know. I'm gonna worry about him.
So what personal tools do you think you can develop so that, one, your quality of life is better? Because
No, there aren't going to be any tools.
think
It's
that-
like every black person has the same conversation with their child when the cops pull you over. You keep your hands on the wheel. Yes sir, no sir. May I please reach for my ID? I shouldn't have to tell my son to do that. It's ridiculous. What?
well, there's I believe that there's elder black women that I know and that I see in conversation, and they have joy in their life, and I believe there's tools, for lack of a better word, or practices that they've learned, maybe were handed down to them, and able to retain a quality of life and hope and joy in the environment of United States.
I mean, I don't know, but you talk to parents who have kids, and moms always say, no matter how old your kids get, you'll always worry about them. So yeah, you're gonna have some hope and joy and some happiness in your life, but you'll always worry about your kids. And I think to have a black son, there's a very large extra layer of thickness of worry on top of that as a parent. So tools or no tools, tools did not help the people who were murdered get out of that, being murdered by police. There's no tool that can help you get out of that. So it is what it is. Faith is where it's at for me. I find that's a helpful tool, but not everyone has faith or believes in that. So
Faith, I believe, supports hope. And in those two is joy. My own personal belief and experience is that worry and fear do not support
No,
joyful life.
they don't. So you have to learn how to compartmentalize. It's the truth. Like, you know, it's like you go to work all day. You go to work 8 to 10 hours a day, and you deal with stressful situations, and your body gets in that. You get used to feeling that way, but then you go home, you have to change, compartmentalize, and like, hey, you're home now. Now you have to let go of whatever happened the 8 to 10 hours earlier, and be a mom, or be a dad, or be a husband, or be a wife, or be alone, and try to find some peace.
How do you do that?
I smoke a lot of weed. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. That can go public.
No, I've learned. I take meds. I do. I'm bipolar, and I take meds to get through it. But and that's helped me a great deal. But I mainly compartmentalize my life so I can get through, you know, ignoring a lot of BS. Focus on positive, focus on like what I hope and what my faith. Working out a lot. Staying around people that are positive, family and friends. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What do you do?
Start the day with meditation.
How long do you do that?
Half an hour. And
How long have you been doing that for?
a few decades.
Holy shit.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Interacting with people of like consciousness and like consciousness. There's a group that I've been interacting with recently, and there's a lot of work of relationships and desire and being responsible for my stuff and the space to make a mistake. So that if I make a mistake, we can talk about it instead of having
That's
it
beautiful.
end up.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, fuck you.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. That's where we need to live. In that life is a big fuck up. It's a big mistake. Life is, you were a mistake, I was a mistake. Our parents didn't plan us. Let's be real.
I think mine did.
I'm just kidding.
Yours did.
No, they did not.
I bet you they did.
No, but
You're the second one, right?
I'm the second one.
Second.
Like, oh shit, we're pregnant again.
Good. That's what they said.
Yeah,
when you were born.
I agree with you with that. You just gotta go with it. Go with the fuck up.
In a sense, but maybe not go with it, but address it with some intelligence and consciousness. Like, we are conscious, intelligent beings also.
We are very, very intelligent, very conscious beings. I believe.
And I just, like, there's two videos I've seen of a clansperson that let it go. And in essence, I'd say their racism was healed. And it was healed because the other individual was able to be with them and just chill.
I know what you're talking about. I've watched that program as well. Yeah. You can't fight anger with anger. You can only fight it with love. I do believe in that. I do believe in but I think, like we said earlier, we still have to let our emotions move, and sometimes there's different stages there are different stages, and the anger, you have to get through that before you can get to like the peace.
I believe, and part of the people I practice with, like if I'm angry with you, it's really my responsibility. It's in actuality, nothing you did created my anger. It's in me.
It's me. It's exactly.
Okay.
I completely
So
agree with that.
I don't have to dump it on you.
No.
I don't have to come to you.
No.
And like I can just deal with it myself and go through it, whether it's painful or so to go back to what earlier, like that's why I've chosen not to say anything in that situation, because I don't honestly know right or wrong. I don't know that person's story at all, and so I recognize a vindictive nature in what comes to mind for me to say, and ultimately there's nothing helpful in what I would say. So it's best for me to say nothing and just deal with my whatever's coming.
So you're going high. You're doing a Michelle Obama.
Yeah, fuck yeah! Like I'm so glad you mentioned her.
Yeah.
And it comes from a place of I don't know. Maybe I'm making a mistake.
I don't think there is a such thing as a mistake. I think you are just being authentic. You're living your life. You're living your truth.
To the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not very good.
And nobody's is good. Nobody's perfect. There's a lot of pretenders out there, though.
Do you think you've been bipolar your whole life?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you look at your whole trajectory, you're like, oh yeah, that was just real from day one.
Wow, what planet was I on? Like, wow, cool. I think that it served me, like, artistically. I enjoyed the highs of writing music and feeling high off of it. But not knowing that I was bipolar when I was younger, it did not serve me because there's a lot of sadness, you know. And when you can educate yourself on whatever it is that you have or whatever it is that you're going through, you have the ability to deal with things a lot better. So I'm an older person now that I know that, because I just learned about it maybe a year ago. I found out, not even a year ago. Oh my gosh, it's been like, I was diagnosed like 8 months ago, about 8 months ago or so. It's been great. Oh, that's why. Okay. Now I'm on the planet. I feel in my body. I feel stable. But I do kind of miss the highs. I miss the highs.
But not the lows.
No, not at all.
And you don't want to pay the price of the lows for those highs.
No, I don't. I want to learn how to, like we were talking about music, and I was saying like, oh, I miss the highs. And you were like, well, like, what did you say? You said it so eloquently. Something about learning how to, like, recreate the highs or something. I don't know, but not in a dysfunctional way, and be able to write the music, allow the space for it. But I don't ever want to go back to the way that I was. You know, the lows were too low, way too low.
And you experienced those, you think, even like in your 10, 11, 12?
In my teens, definitely, yeah. I experienced them, you know. The manic episodes of studying all night, then organizing my bedroom and putting everything in order. That sounds kind of OCD, but still, in my mind, I felt like if I can just make everything appear to be perfect in my bedroom and with my binders and my studying, then tomorrow's going to go great. And then getting an hour of sleep and going to school the next day and wondering, why can't I function? You know? It's like, yeah, that right there, that was a manic episode that I had. I remember that. So, and then you crash and you get depressed and you wonder why. So, knowledge is power. Yeah. I think that is like full circle with everything that we've been talking about, is knowledge is power. Because when you know, then you can do something about it. You can make the choice to be angry, or to like come from a loving place, or to when you have a conversation with someone or a disagreement with someone, you can either fall in line with them or choose to take a step back and think, okay, well, what was their experience? What was my experience? Let's have a talk about it. Let's resolve it, rather than like fighting anger with anger. So, or righteousness, you know. Yeah.
That's why for me, I really think there's an element in healing to be uncomfortable, to quit choosing to change that.
Oh my gosh.
Let it heal authentically.
Yes.
Which means maybe feel fucked for a while.
You know, and I think that is possible. Like, if you have the privilege to be able to do that, then more power to you. But for me, I didn't feel like I had the ability to, you know, go to work and keep a household running with the highs and the lows, you know. I felt like it was a great disservice to my son as well, for me to have to pretend like that wasn't happening, but for him to probably still feel it and know that it was happening. It was a great disservice. It was a great disservice to my boss. You know, it was a great disservice to my parents or to my friends, for them to see me have those highs and lows and wonder, like, damn, why isn't she just consistent? What's wrong with this bitch?
Why isn't life normal?
What is normal?
Exactly.
But yeah.
Have you talked with your son about it and like the changes over the past 8 months? And you feel like nicely grounded. It's a good choice. It's really supporting the whole of the family.
Absolutely, yeah.
Stuff.
And I think when he gets much older and he becomes a father, I think he'll appreciate it more, you know. But we have a very solid relationship. So I feel good about it.